I'm Reeves Kurtner, and this is In Your Business. Season 1 of In Your Business is presented by Moses Auto Mall of Huntington. Online at mosesmeansmore.com. And powered by the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce and Kindred Communications. This week, we're talking about events. And we're joined by Allison White, owner of Sip Downtown Brasserie and the founder of Siptacular, Huntington's premier wine festival. Allison is going to share the backstory of Siptacular, her goals, getting sponsorships, how she promotes the event, and more. Let's get in your business. Can you tell us about yourself and Sip and the story behind Sip? Let's just talk about Sip first.
Sure. Gosh. So Sip has been in business, under my ownership for 7 years now. I bought it back in, what would that have been? 2017. And it was just a wine bar back then, and kind of moved it into a full-scale restaurant now. And it's focusing on wine and...
Yeah, and you were at Heritage Station first, right?
We were at Heritage Station, a little teeny tiny spot. We had about 24 seats.
I'm surprised you had 24 in that place. It is tight in there.
Oh
yes.
Gosh, the kitchen, I'm not kidding. You could stretch out your arms and pretty much touch both walls. It was so tiny. And then we were there for 4 years, and I was going to sell it and be done with it because it was more of a hobby. Or I was walking around downtown and saw a spot for sale or for lease. And I talked to my husband, and we decided to make the jump and move into a bigger location. And here we are with 120 seats.
Yes.
And a full-scale restaurant, big kitchen, do lots of catering now, not just the restaurant. And we definitely couldn't have done that at the old spot.
Sure. And you've got an event room, and you made that leap during the heart of COVID too, right?
Well, we didn't even know COVID was a thing when I signed the lease. That was pretty crazy. So we signed the lease in January 2020, and then COVID became, I know, right?
Yeah.
So March, 2020 was when COVID started to come out and be really known.
Yes.
But it was kind of a blessing in disguise, honestly, because when we opened, we were only allowed to be at half capacity.
Okay.
And so I went from, this tiny little space of 24 people to 120, but now we could only have 60, which actually kind of worked out well because it was like a little soft opening
for us.
That
is perfect, yeah. So let's talk about Siptacular and, what is Siptacular?
Siptacular is a wine festival we are going on our 6th year, and it started when we were over at Heritage Station. And the reason it even started was because I had moved away to Fort Mill, South Carolina, Charlotte area for a few years, and went to some wine festivals down there. And I was like, man, how cool were these? I'd love to bring this back home. And I was talking with, the people that were working at Sip at the time, and I know Jack Cirillo came up with the name Siptacular, and we all loved it. So that's where it started. I just I knew how great these wine festivals were and how much fun they could be to bring everybody together. And so I thought, shoot, why can't I do it?
Sure. So started 6 years ago. What was the event like then versus what it's like now?
A lot bigger now. I think our first year I might have had about 200 people. This year I'm hoping to have about 500 people. And pretty similar, really, just on a larger scale. We had live music, we had wine. I don't think the first year, I can't remember honestly. I know Mike McCarthy would remember if we had a VIP or not the first year.
Okay.
So I know we did add that, and then another thing that we've added since we've been on 9th Street is really nice food for the VIPs. That's a big draw for that. Our chefs create lovely food for them.
What is the goal? Why do you do it? Why do you put on a wine fest in Huntington now for a 6th year? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Number one is to make money.
Yeah.
Really.
That's okay.
Because I'm a small business, and this is our biggest event of the year, and it helps us stay open.
Got it.
So that's definitely number one, is to make money. And really it is fun, and it's a great way to bring a lot of people downtown. And I love wine, and I want to showcase wine to people, and they get to taste so many different wines at one time. If you go to the grocery store, you buy one bottle of wine, you only taste one thing at a time.
That's right.
But if you come to Siptacular, there are, now granted, there's going to be 100 wines. Now don't taste them all.
Don't have all 100 of them?
Yes. You can't, I mean, just please be careful. But, you could taste like 20 different wines and have something you've never had before.
Right. How does Siptacular, or how do you think Siptacular has helped, increase the brand awareness of Sip Downtown Brasserie and the overall growth? Do you think there's a connection there between the two, the event and your restaurant itself?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's pretty cool now that people tell me they look forward to this every year. And so I think they definitely, with the name Siptacular, of course, and our business name is Sip Downtown Brasserie, then there's a correlation there all the time. And then we will absolutely have folks come to Siptacular that have never been to Sip.
Of course.
Which helps us, have organic growth with Sip, the restaurant. So yeah, there's definitely a big correlation.
Can you see, so what does, how does Siptacular affect your, Sip Downtown Brasserie, like the week before and the week after the restaurant?
Oh man. We are consumed with it.
Okay.
I mean, it takes me about 4 months, really, of planning to get everything going. The week of is a lot with the wine coming in and getting that organized. Actually, the least stressful day, believe it or not, is the day before.
Okay.
Because we have everything
There's nothing to do.
Nothing else we can do.
Right.
It's the calm before the storm,
Sure.
right? We're just waiting for Saturday morning so the street's blocked off and we can start getting set up. And really, I don't think I calm down until about 3 or 4 o'clock on the day of Siptacular, because I want to make sure everything's perfect. I pride myself on Siptacular, like running super smooth, because I want people to come back every year and talk about how great it was.
Sure.
But the week after, as you were asking, is just we just breathe, and take a little break.
What time do y'all close down the street and get started?
We start getting everything set up around 8 or 9 on Saturday morning. The festival opens to VIP folks at noon and to everybody else at 1 o'clock. And it ends at 5, and we're pretty much cleaned up by 7 o'clock.
That's not bad.
No.
To get everything up and running in 4 hours, right?
Yeah. It's a lot of work. I have a lot of volunteers.
So, you talked about you want to make the event great for the people who come. What all do you do? What all do you think that you do to make the event great for people that show up? What elements are involved?
I mean, visual, like decorating, So we've actually hired an outside source this year to help with the decorating, just to make it look a little bit nicer. It's a wine festival, so we want it to be a little fancier than, a normal festival. The vendors, we have local craft vendors that will have stuff for people to purchase if they'd like. It's just a lot of coordinating of that, and then the food trucks, having them there, all the organizing and making sure, we have a map put together that shows everybody where all the things are, making sure that we have the right amount of wines that our customers like we've taken note on previous years. Oh shoot, we needed a little bit more sweet wines, a little bit more sparkling wines. We were good on the red wines. We recap after the event also to see if we could do something better the next year. I've got the fancy potties. Okay. Just little things like that. You got to think of the little things to make it a special event, as well as the big picture of just remembering to block the street off. I mean, there's just a lot of pieces to the puzzle. And if I miss one of them, then somebody's not going to have a great experience.
So when you're talking about, oh wow, we ran out of the sparkling wines and the sweet ones and so forth, and we had plenty. Are you able to take some of that information to the restaurant itself and be like, wow, people really like that one. We definitely need to have that one.
Yeah, I mean, we've just kind of figured out over the years what people like, and we will definitely be able to tell, oh, we ran out of this certain wine in an hour.
Right.
So maybe we should look at having that on the menu.
Sure.
If people liked it that much.
Yes.
Or also this year we've always sold the wine at the Siptacular, but we're going to do a little more streamlined this year for people. So maybe that will also help us to, if people buy X wine the most, then we should probably look at
that's one of my favorite things. How long have you been doing that, where you can buy the wine from the event?
A couple years, but we just didn't make it user friendly.
Okay.
You know, like people had to write it on a piece of paper and bring it to us.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're at an event and you're having a good time, you don't want to like write stuff down on a piece of paper and think about that. So I'm working on a more technology friendly way to do it this year.
I like that. I like going, ooh, I really enjoyed Wine 17, whatever it was, and then taking a bottle home. You ordered it, or it was
and we're going to have it there.
Okay,
we're going to have a lot of them there this year, which is one thing we've never done before. So I'm kind of taking a chance on doing that, and because that will, if people don't sell it, then I'm stuck with it.
That's right.
So that's another thing. People want it immediate, gratification. They want to buy the wine and take it home. So we're going to try to do that this year.
Sure. So let's talk about marketing. How do you market the event?
A lot of social media, Facebook, Instagram,
paid
radio with you all.
Paid or on social. Let's talk about social media. Paid or organic posts.
Both.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of post for one thing, but then we boost the main post, and then we'll do giveaways and have people promote they have to like and comment and share the post in order to get entered to win a free ticket, and so that helps grow people because they'll tag folks that maybe have not heard of Siptacular before. And then I'm selling actually tickets at book tenders in Barbersville this year to try to capture that market a little bit more. So let's see, we've got social media, radio, and then flyers. We put flyers around at local businesses.
Sure. Let's talk about book tender. So that's interesting. How that's like you said, that's new. How did that relationship come to be? And are there any other partnerships or collaborations with other area businesses that you work with like that?
Well, I was just talking to my manager Emily about how to expand our sales this year and really get into the Barbersville market because it's 20 minutes away, but we still struggle with getting a lot of those folks to come down here. And we are, really familiar with Ashley and Mandy that own book tenders. And I just sent them a message and I was like, hey, can I bring a little sign and bring some tickets up and, see if we can sell tickets with you guys. So that's really the only relationship we have like that per se.
Do they get a cut of the tickets they sell?
If they sell a certain amount of tickets, then they will get a free ticket per, every 10 tickets they sell. Yes,
yeah. Well, I love things like that. I mean, that's
well, they need incentive to want to sell them too, not just to be nice.
Yeah, and that's, but again, what's great about that is it's just, businesses working together. Right? And we say it all the time, we're all in this thing together, and that's one way, getting as many people as you can.
And they had no hesitation. They immediately said yes, that they would love to help. So it was great.
What about, so let's talk about sponsorships.
Sure.
I think we could probably just do a whole conversation on sponsorships. Talk about how you go about getting sponsorships, your different sponsor levels, and that's a really, really important part of this event, right? You couldn't do it without sponsorship money.
Couldn't, because ticket sales only get you so far. And the sponsors, we have the same sponsors over and over again each year, which is wonderful. A lot of them I have a business relationship with already. My insurance provider,
of course,
he sponsors every year. Personal insurance provider, Tyler Bullington, he sponsors every year, and he's a great customer. So a lot of those relationships with the sponsorships were developed because I did business with the certain sponsors, or like Brown Dog Yoga. I work out there. So I give them money every month,
Absolutely.
and then it's like a partnership really with all of them. So I do try to focus on that. I don't want to go ask someone to be a sponsor if I don't have some kind of a relationship with them, or I haven't tried to help them. So it kind of goes. We're helping each other. But really, it's just, that's it. Like, I would sit down and look at, who are my vendors, who do I work with, contact them, see if, the sponsorship for Siptacular is a good fit for both of us. Are they going to benefit from being a sponsor? I want them to be able to get their name out and then hopefully get customers from being a sponsor for Siptacular. What percentage, and I don't want to talk specific dollars and cents, but like what percentage of your revenue is probably from sponsors versus ticket sales? Maybe 40%. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big 30, number. 40%. Has that number grown over the 6 years? Not the percentage. Okay. But 40%'s been about. I would say 30 to 40 would be about what it has been. Yeah. So theoretically, about 40% of your revenue is sponsorships. That all takes place before the event starts. And I know
everybody wants pre-sales on tickets and all that kind of stuff. So talk about that. Talk about ticket sales and pre-sales and that challenge too.
Oh gosh. Well, general admission is always a huge challenge. VIP, not at all. I sold out my VIP tickets in less than 2 weeks this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did an early bird special on it, so they got $10 off. So that helped. That was another thing we tried to do this year was let's do early bird special for both general admission and VIP. And I know that helped for VIPs because we sold them out in no time.
Right.
And we got a little jump start on our general admission tickets this year too. But that's always a challenge, for general admission tickets. We sell so many tickets the days leading up to Siptacular and the day of.
Yeah. They're looking at the weather, right? I mean, is that...
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I suppose. I don't really know. That's the only thing I can think of. Or they're just last minute to make a decision on what they're going to do for the weekend. I'm not like that. I'm a planner.
No, me too.
I've got it all on my calendar for weeks in advance. But I would assume that's what it is. And thank goodness we have been blessed with great weather every year.
Sure.
Knock on wood. I hope this year is the same. But we'll see. But we do have tents. If it happens to rain, there's
a lot of tents there.
There's always a lot of tents, plenty of coverage if something would happen. So, and you're drinking wine. Who cares?
That's right. That's right.
If it's raining a little bit, not a big deal.
That's right. On that battle of, and there are so many events and concerts at the arena that have that same battle, like on the pre-sales. Marshall Athletics, same thing. Like, gosh darn it, why? Virginia Tech sold out.
Yeah, right.
But why is everybody waiting until the day of the game? What have you learned to try to help that early bird special? Anything else like that to try to get more pre-sales?
We charge a little more day of.
Okay.
We add on $5 if they buy it at the gate. Trying to get people to save money by buying it before, and really just pushing, like I said, the early bird. And then we'll do some campaigns on Facebook, for people. Like today we did for this week. If you have bought or are buying your general admission ticket, then you get entered to upgrade to VIP. Yeah. Because people want the VIP. And so just always trying to figure out what kind of promotions we could do to get people to please go ahead and buy your general admission tickets, because it helps us. We have to cut it off because I have to buy the wine the week before the event starts. So I know exactly how many people I can let in. Yeah. And so we might have to cut it off at the door if I've sold the 100 tickets at the gate that I'm allowed to, because I know exactly how much wine per person that we need, because like I said, I've done this for 6 years, kind of got that part down to a science. So we might have to cut ticket sales off at the door. And I hate to turn somebody away, but I think we did last year, actually. We had to. That's
the way that you get pre-sales is you sell it out. You find that number, and again, you said 500 is your goal, and I'm not telling what to do, but if you say like 350, and then we sell it out, then next year, then I'll get my ticket early because they sold out. Then you raise it up to 400, then 450 or whatever. But let them know that if I don't get my ticket before the event, I probably won't be able to go.
Well, VIPs, I'll give it a week next year and we'll probably sell out. Sure. Since we sold out so quickly. And we sold out in double time this year for VIP compared to last year. Sure. It was great.
Now, and if you sell out, does that say, hey, I should raise the ticket prices up $1 or $2 because we sold out so quickly and the demand is there? Is that something to look at?
We were going to increase it we did increase it by $10. It was $115 last year. It was $125 this year. But the VIP we sold for $115, so we kept the price the same for early birds. So we did up it. Really, we upped it because we added the craft beer. We added a different element to it this year. General admissions, we upped by $5 because we added the craft beer to it. And honestly, prices have just gone up.
Everything's gone up.
Food prices are...
Your wine prices are up.
My margins are not the same because it has gone up so much. I can't increase my prices enough to cover to what the margins should be. I'm an accountant by schooling, so I'm looking at this stuff all the time, and there's just no way. We would lose customers if I charged what I should to make the margin that I'm supposed to.
So let's talk about challenges of the event. What have you learned from year 1 to year 6? Really,
I've kind of done it the same every year. Okay. So I've learned to keep it consistent, and to really plan ahead of time, to keep my notes. A big thing that we learned to start doing, I think it took us a couple years to do this, was to recap the day after.
Okay.
You can't wait any longer because
that's right. While it's all
everything's fresh on your brain. Recap the day after. And I mean, really, that's...
Do you get feedback from people who go?
I've never, again, knock on wood, gotten any negative feedback. It's always been great because, like I said, this is a huge event for me, and I am a perfectionist when it comes to putting on events. If you've ever been to an event at SIP, I honestly don't think we've ever really had anything go wrong because I really want people to come in and remember how wonderful it was. And so I pride myself on, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and making sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. So, yeah, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and I love it when I hear people tell me that they look forward to coming to this every year. It's just, it's just great to hear that.
It's a great event, and you do a great job. It's a great event. And I'll add, it's great for the city of Huntington. It really is. There's some really great things happening in Huntington, I think.
Yeah,
and this is one. This is one of them. I really do. Any challenges in organizing it that you said the day before is the calmest day. What about those 4 months that you mentioned before? Issues, challenges that kind of pop up?
Just remembering to get everything done, remembering to do it all. There's the licensing, and I have to do so many things before I, get the city application, do the state application, and I have to make sure that I've gotten all that taken care of. So there's just really right now is probably my most stressful time, which is we're almost 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
Because I've got everything done, I think, but I need to follow up and make sure. I know I ordered the tents and I know I ordered the porta potty, but I need to follow up and make sure they're still on track.
That's right.
There's the ordering of everything, but then there's also making sure that everybody else is on board and ready to go. Unfortunately, one of the West Virginia craft beer vendors can't come, physically come. They were going to come and pour the beer. Obviously, we can still get their beer and have volunteers pour it, but that kind of is a stinker,
Sure.
that they can't actually be here. But I get it. They're busy. They were the business owners and they can't come. So it is what it is.
Yeah. How does your staff at SIP respond to Siptacular, and what are their roles with the event?
As far as I know, I think they love it. It's kind of a fun day. It's a different than normal Saturday. My manager, Emily, is a huge help, and she's made it an even nicer event, I think, with her touches. But I think they really look forward to it because a lot of the staff will do, they pour the wine, which is always it's a fun thing to do because you get to interact with the customers a little bit more. And I think, I just think they enjoy it. They're not inside of SIP. They're outside helping get everything set up, or, they'll come in the morning and help get everything, going. And so I think it's just it's a different day.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's a little more, it's like a different day at the office.
So you mentioned, volunteers, they help pour wine. How do you solicit volunteers? What are their roles and all that stuff?
So last year I kind of copied from Rails and Ales. I asked them if they wouldn't care if I did, and they were like, of course not.
Sure.
So they give organizations $500 in exchange for them providing volunteers. So I've done the same thing. So last year I got, I think, 4 organizations to sign up. They got $500. They provided me with 6 to 8 volunteers. So those volunteers come in. I have a meeting with them the Sunday before because there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of pieces to the puzzle. I give them all their duties, give them their T-shirts, but they will help. I think you asked me what the volunteers do.
Yeah, but how do you get the volunteers?
Yeah, well, that's how I get them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's an easy sell, really, because I would have to pay employees anyways. I'm going to have to pay somebody, so why not give it to charities?
Yeah.
To do good.
Yes.
So they come in and they help set up, and then they'll pour the wine, or they'll work the front gate. I have to have a couple folks walking around making sure people aren't sneaking in, and then help clean up at the end.
Yeah. What about you said 100 different wines there, and we can't drink all of them.
You probably shouldn't.
What about safety of the patrons
Sure.
and drinking and driving and all that kind of stuff?
Well, we have water and food, which is also important when you're having wine. Safety for drinking and driving. I mean, we definitely encourage designated drivers. We actually have a designated driver ticket for sale for people. It's $15, and they get in and they can just enjoy the festivities, just not the wine.
Yeah.
And of course, Uber is readily available for folks.
Sure.
Or obviously, if you're downtown, you could walk. I don't think taxi's a thing anymore, but
sure.
And for another level of safety, we do have 2 Huntington police officers there. We've never, ever even come close to having an issue, but we like to have them there, just make everybody feel safe. But yeah, just, people need to obviously just be responsible adults and drink and sip responsibly, and, just get you a ride home.
Yes. So if I said, Allison, hey, I'm going to do a hamburger event in Huntington, or a bourbon event or whatever, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Let's do it.
That sounds good.
Let's go. What advice would you give somebody? Hey, we're in an elevator. Allison, I know you do that Siptacular. I'm thinking about doing one. What advice do you have for me?
Well, I mean, I'd be happy to sit down with anybody that was doing something like that. But a big thing is make sure you're not doing the event on the same day as something else large going on in Huntington. We always have to check that and make sure there's no Marshall football games, preferably no Marshall soccer games, and obviously just no other large events. That's a big thing. And just making sure you're getting the word out, of your event in the right ways. What's your target market? Who do you want to come to that certain event? How are you going to get the word out to them? And really, that's some big tips.
No, that is great too. Just about done. What's your favorite wine?
I love big, bad, bold reds.
Okay.
My favorite wine on the menu at Sip right now is the Quilt Cab.
Yes.
Yep, one of my faves.
Okay. Did I miss anything? Anything else you want to add? You brought notes, and I don't think you really used your notes.
No, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about all the things.
Yeah.
I did a list because you were asking like the how, and I'm like, well, I've got the vendors and the food and the decorations and the staffing and the volunteers and the music and the ticket sales and the rentals and the sponsors and the advertising. I mean, there are just, and I'm kind of a one-man. I mean, Emily definitely helps me, but I do a lot of this on my own because she's busy with running Sip.
That's right.
And so when Siptacular time comes around, a lot of this is on me, and so it's it's a lot of pressure because, like I said, again, I want to make it the best wine fest.
Yeah, there it is. This has been In Your Business. I'm your host, Reeves Kurtner. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, share, and even leave us a review. Season 1 of In Your Business is presented by Moses Auto Mall of Huntington, MosesMeansMore.com, and powered by the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce and Kindred Communications.